In the middle of the forest, a muscular and fierce man was seen as he was faced with three ladies donned in armor. The man was very infuriated when he heard that the ladies wanted an apprentice and asked him to be one. He immediately attacked them with his enormous axe, but surprisingly, he got punched away by one of the ladies who happened to be a draconian destruction warlord, Re-enrollment. The other two were disappointed by the performance of the man. The ladies were known as a High Elf, Hydra Hailstorm, and the last one, who was a member of the highest vampire family and a no-life king, was also a high-end dark priest, Romeo Clayblood. The survivors of the defeated man were genuinely shocked by the ferocious strength displayed by Rayon, which also implied that Hailstorm and Romeo were strong. The three ladies were the strongest warriors in the world. They defeated many warriors and were feared wherever they went. However, they needed help finding a qualified suitor, with the condition that their suitor must be more potent than them, or at least on their level. After they deliberated together, they agreed on a decision. They had to find a promising man whom they would groom and train from the ground up and have him for themselves as soon as he met their requirements. They searched different places for several months, but to no avail. However, on a fateful day, they overheard some men talking about a descendant of the Brave One, who was known for his win against the demon lords. Hence, the ladies decided right on the spot that he was the man for them. They traveled over to the fortress city of Bascalvia, known to be a mecca for adventurers due to its excellent accumulation of magic. When they got to the Royal Adventure School of Almeria, the principal, Celeria Cookshaw, was shocked to hear that the strongest warriors had arrived. Hence, she had to confirm it with her subjects, but they told her that the intimidating aura in the air was natural, and that the warriors were already in the principal's office. Celeria told her messenger to get rid of them quickly, as she did not want to see them. Unfortunately, her messenger replied that the warriors had already told him not to keep them waiting anymore. When she saw that she had no choice, she told the boy with her to quickly go and find another path besides being an adventurer, as she did not want him to come into contact with the warriors. Celeria then went to meet them. When Celeria arrived, the warriors told her she had delayed them. Celeria then asked them why they were there. Although she thought that their activities as S-class adventurers were admirable, they had caused messes for the guild to clean up. However, she could not face them to say all that. They then told her that she could provide them with a brave one, which is the descendant. Celeria was surprised to hear that this was what they wanted, since they already knew that the boy had come there to finish his training. But they said they could train him if he were promising. However, she knew that the S-class adventurers were selfish and loyal to their desires. They would even ignore the king's orders if they suited them. So Celeria concluded that they must have been plotting something before coming to Bascalia. As they were still discussing, they suddenly heard a sound, which was an explosion. Celeria was visibly shocked as she recognized the monster rampaging around the whole city, known as a poison slime Hydra, a high-ranking monster with a danger level of 8. It is recommended that only A-class adventurer parties deal with it, but the poison slime Hydra was more extensive than expected, making them attribute it to a danger level 9 monster. Meanwhile, the ladies were anxious and worried that their future husband might be killed considering the monster's strength, so they instantly headed there. A moment later, the ladies were seen attacking the monster while some of the citizens could escape from the onslaught of the Hydra. They only seemed to barely contain the monster as they discovered that the monster's magic resistance and recovery power were far higher than even Hailstorm expected. Hold on. If you guys are loving this video, make sure to comment, "We are loving it," because that is how I get to know that. Now, getting back to the story. At the time, Celeria was also seen sparking toward the battlefield. Although she assumed the ladies could defeat it, she had to help considering the citizens. However, one of her subordinates sped up toward her and informed her about the onslaught of about 4,000 monsters coming from the abyssal forest north of Bascalia. Celeria was shocked by the report, wondering what the lookouts were doing. However, she instructed her subordinates that they should evacuate the residents who were of C-class level and below, while the adventurers of B-class and above should head over to the forest. At the same time, the three ladies should be left with the poison slime Hydra. Ryan was seen as she sent a mighty fist down at the monster, going inside it and blasting her way through to the other end, revealing a strange ball floating in the Hydra that could also be seen from outside. They'd informed the adventurers on the side that they should hit the core of the Hydra while they kept it busy. However, at that very moment, a giant magical circle was seen just above the Hydra, which impressed the ladies but only for a short while as they all realized their stats had decreased. At this moment, a warrior was seen charging at the monster, displaying a lot of skills while in midair. Ryan and the other ladies wondered who the warrior was. The warrior displayed her skills and got entangled with the many tentacles circling her, becoming restrained. At this moment, one of the residents saw the warrior and called her the Brave One. Ryan and the ladies were shocked when they realized the future husband they planned on meeting was a woman. Although she was a cut above the others they encountered on their journey, at that moment, a certain young boy of about 14 years of age was seen charging at the monster, prompting the ladies to wonder who he was. To their surprise, the young boy was discovered to be without level or any attributes at all. However, they decided to protect him as he made his way to break the core of the Hydra. The S-class adventurers knew that was their last chance to defeat the Hydra without any sacrifices. While the young boy was still trying to destroy the core, the S-class adventurers were having difficulty dealing with the monster if they wanted to help the innocent-looking young boy, which made them keep fighting the monster. The young boy almost beat the core as the S-class adventurers were still trying to fight the monster. They'd fled to destroy it from the top but ended up falling and collapsing. The people nearby where the fight occurred could feel the aura of the adventure teachers, and as they collapsed, it also affected the young boy because he tried to help Teromia. When they got up, Rion told Teromia to quickly heal the young boy as they hurriedly rushed him to a place where he could hang out since the poison was not spreading due to the frozen slime. They assured him that they would heal him as long as he was not dead, and the young boy replied, which was a sign that he was not dead yet. Later on, Hailstorm begged her colleagues for everything that had happened, which should not have happened had she not let her guard down. Rion then wondered how a level 1 could end up in Romeo's hands. Still, Rion doubted that they would have to accept the young boy as their apprentice out of all people. However, Rion was confused that the young boy did not have a single skill. At that moment, the young boy woke up, and Rion, who had been sitting with him all the while, quickly attended to him as she explained to him that she had been worried when she could not see him stirring. Still, Rion noticed that the young boy was staring at her while she was talking. She then realized that she had not introduced herself to him, which might have scared him. She introduced herself, but the young boy looked scared when he heard Rion say that she was Draconian, because the Draconians are the most powerful of the dragon races and are also one of the 3 strongest races in the world. Rion then showed him the proof and explained everything from the start to him so he could understand. She then explained that they bought the house he found himself in as their base in Bascalia, since there are so many patients with injuries in the church. They had brought him to the house, and it had been a whole day since then, so things had gotten back to normal. Although most people had forgotten about what he did because of the house effects, Rion was proud of him. After Rion petted him for a while, she asked him to become her apprentice since she heard from the principal that he had been expelled from the academy, which meant he had nothing else to do. The young boy was confused as he wondered how he would be an apprentice to an S-class adventurer, even with his incompetence that got him expelled and all his stats at 0. He concluded that it was all a dream, or maybe he had died while fighting the Hydra. Suddenly, Romeo and Hailstorm arrived and were shocked that Rion could be smart enough to pull one over them because she had already promised to let them know once the young boy was awake. They also introduced themselves to him and tried to persuade him to be their apprentice as it would be an excellent choice for them. Still, later they started arguing over him as everyone wanted him to be her apprentice. He then suggested that the 3 train him and introduced his name as Cross a la carte. They all concluded that whoever trains him better will have him as her apprentice. Alucard informed them that he did not want to return to the orphanage after being expelled from the school, but then he could become an apprentice to the 3 S-class adventurers. He was excited to be an apprentice to all of them instead of fighting each other. Alucard was seen as he walked outside the mansion, admiring its view. They told him that the whole mansion was bought for his training and was quite a hideout. However, Rion and Romeo were seen arguing about which of them was the first to train Alucard. Meanwhile, Romeo later agreed that Rion should train the boy first while she kept an eye on them. Rion then informed Alucard that even if his progress was a bit slow, they would use the Draconian technique to increase his speed, although the whole city might turn on them. Rion then asked Alucard to attack her with his sword, which he did, but then Rion detected a lot of hesitation in his attacks, indicating that he had been bullied a lot while still in the Adventure Academy. Due to this, Alucard thought back to when he was bullied by his friends. Rion encouraged him to enjoy fighting and remove all kinds of hesitation when he fought. She then threw the sword away and asked Alucard to attack her with his sword, while she instructed Romeo to reduce her defense so she wouldn't get hurt during the spar. Rion then told Alucard that he was too nice and knave. She called Hailstorm, who was busy shooting some magic at her, to prove a few things to Alucard. Hailstorm unleashed an advanced stone magic known as the Edge Stone at Rion, creating a lot of noise and disturbance. Still, Romeo assured them that all was fine as the entire property was soundproof, so no one could notice the noise. However, Alucard was scared. Rion told him not to worry, as she would not get hurt. She also explained that if he got used to attacking her like that, he would never hesitate to attack anyone again. Alucard then tried again, and Rion told him to keep the rhythm more robust. She instructed him to aim at her throat the next time, and in the final trial to aim to kill her. But as he was in the process, Teromia intervened and Alucard got injured. Rion explained that they were training him to enjoy fighting as the goal was not to be harsh. She urged him to regain his energy with some food and water. After the feeding, Hailstorm took over the training and led Alucard to a room where she told him to take off his clothes. Hailstorm then instructed Alucard to remove his clothes except for his underwear, as she wanted to give him a healing massage to help him reduce fatigue and develop magical power. She then gave it to him, which he could feel, and she explained that if they repeated it daily, his senses would sharpen. Even while being classless, it would become easier for him to discover his skills, and it was much more efficient than standard grinding. When Hailstorm was done with the massage, Alucard thanked her, very happy that a woman like Hailstorm would be doing a massage for him every day. He then went to sleep, and Teromia was already waiting for him to reward him for doing well on his first day of training. She told Alucard to press against her. Ryan was seen arriving when she sensed that Teromia would be up to something terrible. 3 days later, Alucard had gotten used to the training. When they checked his stats, his attack speed, defense, and slash stats had changed to level 1, which he was pleased about. At that moment, the pain he used to feel from the training had vanished, and he could not feel them again. Ryan then told him they would continue his training by developing his skills. He was instructed to fight with a horned rabbit, which he was initially scared to face, but he later defeated the rabbit. He was then asked to confront a low-level monster, but he told them he could not do it. Ryan encouraged him, assuring him he could do it. She promised not to be harsh on him, which calmed Alucard's mind. He was seen as being terrified at the prospect of facing the horned rabbit. Meanwhile, Rayon encouraged him that he could do it. However, at the moment of hesitation, the monster wrapped around him, restricting him. He managed to escape from the encirclement and then tried to attack the monster using his slashing skills. He couldn't hit the monster at all as it was too fast, but he calmed himself down and struck the monster's weakness. The ladies were excited that Alucard was able to defeat the monster, and he was also pleased with his progress, so they continued training. However, Hailstorm was always seen after training, giving Alucard a massage every day. After training for 10 days, Alucard's skill reached level 3, showing that he had grown significantly for a classless individual. Ryan then asked Alucard if he had any short-term goals that could motivate him. Alucard thought for a while and decided he wanted to take the Re-enrollment exam, stating that he had always dreamed of studying at the Adventurer's School. He recapped what happened to his hometown 4 years ago when monsters attacked it, and the one who appeared out of thin air to save the village was the brave one, Alicia. Ever since then, he had decided to attend the Adventurer's School. It was then that the ladies realized Alucard seemed to have feelings for Alicia, even though he nervously denied it. However, Ryan said it was a good idea since he would develop some weird habits if he sparred with them. It was quite good to fight against a more diverse group of people, and Alucard should take the exams. Although Rayon wanted him to learn a secret weapon for the enrollment exam after 20 days, Alucard and the ladies were seen heading to the Adventurer's School, assuring Alucard that he would be unstoppable if he could reduce his nervousness. They planned to stay hidden to protect him in case something happened. Alucard entered the auditorium expecting a typical gathering. To his astonishment, he found himself in an expansive arena filled with a crowd eagerly awaiting the upcoming match. He realized this was no ordinary event. He was about to face his greatest adversary, Giselle. She coldly declared her intention to take pleasure in defeating and potentially killing him. Meanwhile, Rayon watched from the spectator's stand, observing the unfolding scene. She recognized the significance of this match for Alucard, as it presented an opportunity for him to reclaim his stolen pride. Frustrated with Alucard hindering her training, Giselle didn't hold back her annoyance. She confronted him bluntly, telling him to get lost. In her eyes, Alucard was a useless dumbass incapable of becoming a true adventurer. She believed that even if he begged the monsters to let him go, they would never release him, emphasizing her low opinion of his abilities. Meanwhile, the instructor made an important announcement to the training group. They would conduct the re-entry exam as a competitive match, adding an element of competition and pressure to the test. As the instructor called out the names of the participants, Giselle, String, and Cross Alucard were asked to step forward as opponents. Rayon and Teromia, observing the unfolding events, eagerly awaited the fight's outcome. Teromia noticed Rayon's particularly savage and bitter reactions towards Alucard, expressing hostility that surprised her. Intrigued, Teromia inquired about the kind of man Rayon hoped Alucard would become. With the commencement of the fight announced, the tension in the training area peaked as Alucard and Giselle, armed with swords, wasted no time engaging each other. Their blades clashed as they swiftly swung into action, showcasing their combat skills. Alucard, determined to prove himself, unleashed a technique known as body hardening. This ability enhanced his physical defenses, making it difficult for Giselle's sword attacks to harm him. His mastery of this defensive skill demonstrated a surprising level of proficiency. It had been a month since the students' classes were determined, and most were already approaching an intermediate level of expertise. The instructor, witnessing Alucard's remarkable performance against someone as formidable as Giselle, couldn't help but marvel at his abilities. The instructor pondered how someone without a designated class like Alucard could hold his own against a skilled combatant like Giselle. The sight was truly intriguing and raised questions about Alucard's hidden potential. Just as Giselle was about to launch another attack, Alucard swiftly utilized a defensive skill that caught everyone, including the audience, off guard. The unexpected move shocked onlookers, but Jizel maintained her composure and acted unfazed. She brushed off Alucard's defensive maneuver, attributing it to mere luck and emphasizing that he shouldn't assume it would secure his victory in the test. As Jizel taunted Alucard, she clarified that his endurance wouldn't last forever against her relentless attacks. With determination in her eyes, she unleashed a powerful sword skill called the Spinning Thrust, hoping to obliterate her opponent. However, to her surprise, the attack didn't inflict as much damage as anticipated. Alucard managed to withstand the blow, proving his resilience. Witnessing Alucard's endurance, Jizel couldn't help but feel a tinge of disbelief. She had assumed that using her formidable skill would be enough to secure her victory over Alucard, yet he managed to hold his ground. The realization began to dawn on her that there was more to Alucard than she initially thought. During the intense fight, Alucard's mind raced, recalling Rayon's valuable lessons. Rayon had taught him to activate and deactivate his agility-based skill, emphasizing that it would be harder for opponents to anticipate his movements if he varied his speed rather than maintaining a consistent pace. Drawing upon this knowledge, Alucard adjusted his attack patterns, surprising Jizel. She found herself struggling to accept the fact that Alucard possessed attack skills, as she could previously believe that his stats were pitifully low. The realization that Alucard was not as helpless as she assumed began to unsettle her. She was forced to defend herself against his counterattacks, which showcased his unexpected offensive capabilities. The onlookers, including Rayon and Toromia, were left astounded by the turn of events. The entire training area buzzed with murmurs and whispers as they witnessed Jizel, a skilled adventurer, desperately fending off Alucard, someone deemed to have no stats. The memories returned as Alucard recalled one of his training sessions with Rayon. The training session focused on one skill, the extra skill, a powerful technique that combined different skills to create a devastating attack. Rayon had explained that Alucard needed to secure more firepower to defeat formidable opponents, and the extra skill provided just that. During this session, Alucard witnessed the true potential of the extra skill as he faced off against Jizel, a formidable opponent. He knew he had to tap into the full power of his abilities. Jizel, not one to back down easily, reacted swiftly, hardening her body to minimize the impact of Alucard's attack. Undeterred, she charged at him with intense speed, aiming to take advantage of his momentary vulnerability. However, Alucard was prepared for such a response. As Jizel closed in on him, Alucard countered her attack by using another skill known as the Slash skill. This skill enhanced his physical prowess, allowing him to overpower Jizel's charge. The clash between their abilities was intense, but Alucard's determination and skills proved superior. The force of Alucard's strike sent Jizel crashing to the ground, defeated. Observing the training session, Rayon couldn't help but smirk at Alucard's victory. She recognized his growth and remarked that he was her type. Impressed by his tenacity and skill, Alucard couldn't contain his excitement and joy. As the dust settled from the intense battle, he had emerged victorious, and a wave of relief washed over him. The thought of returning to school, sharing his triumph with his friends, and continuing his journey filled him with anticipation. Meanwhile, still recovering from the impact, Jizel managed to gather herself and rise to her feet. She was visibly surprised and puzzled by Alucard's triumph. She had known him as the classless one, a term used to describe someone with average stats and lacking standout abilities. In her mind, she couldn't help but wonder how he had defeated her. Thoughts raced through her mind, contemplating the possibility of a hidden trick or a secret technique that Alucard had utilized. As Alucard returned to his companions, Rayon and the others, he expressed gratitude for their unwavering support and guidance throughout his training. He recognized their significant role in shaping him into the warrior he had become. Their camaraderie and bond were evident as they celebrated his victory together. Curiosity sparked among his comrades, and they eagerly asked Alucard to reveal his status plate. They anticipated his stats would undoubtedly increase after such a challenging battle. With a smile, Alucard retrieved his status plate, a small device displaying his current abilities and attributes. As the numbers and figures appeared on the status plate, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. Alucard's stats had increased dramatically, surpassing their expectations. The ladies couldn't help but be astonished by his rapid growth in such a short period. Filled with excitement, Alucard returned to the adventurer's school, his heart brimming with anticipation for the next chapter of his journey. He bid farewell to Rayon, Toromia, and the rest of his companions, expressing his gratitude for their unwavering support. The prospect of returning to school and sharing his recent victory with his fellow adventurers brought him a sense of joy and accomplishment. Observing Alucard's enthusiasm, Hailstorm, a fellow adventurer, couldn't help but be intrigued. She turned to Rayon and jokingly asked if she had run out of kindness, questioning how Alucard could be so excited even when leaving. Rayon, with a smile, responded that Alucard's excitement stemmed from the fact that he was going back to school, a place where he could further develop his skills and knowledge. Hailstorm was intrigued by the conversation and prompted to examine Alucard's stats. As she delved into his abilities and attributes, her surprise was evident. The numbers on Alucard's status plate far exceeded her expectations, indicating tremendous growth in his capabilities. This revelation left Hailstorm astounded, questioning how such a significant improvement had occurred. Hold on. If you guys are loving this video, make sure to comment, "We are loving it," because that is how I get to know that. Now, getting back to the story. Fueled by her fiery nature, Hailstorm unleashed an intense and enormous flame magic spell, engulfing Rion and Teromia, swiftly consuming their clothes. Her anger was palpable as she confronted Rion, accusing her of using a draconian treasure on Alucard at the beginning of their training. In Hailstorm's eyes, such a revelation spelled trouble for Alucard's future, as the utilization of such a treasure often had dire consequences. Rion and Teromia, taken aback by Hailstorm's sudden outburst, urged her to calm down. They vehemently denied using any draconian treasure on Alucard, emphasizing that they had trained him honestly and earnestly. They reassured Hailstorm that his impressive growth and abilities resulted from his determination and their guidance, rather than any external aid. The situation grew tense as Hailstorm contemplated the implications of Alucard's abnormal growth. She mused that such rapid development was typically associated with individuals of noble lineage, raising further questions about Alucard's past and potential hidden heritage. Gaining proficiency in his skills usually took about 2 weeks just to level up, yet Alucard had managed to achieve that and level up all in a single month despite being classless and needing experience. Alucard was seen in the classroom, eagerly writing everything he was being taught, thinking he had to work on his basics, well to move much further in his training with Rion and others. Meanwhile, they were later seen outside the classroom, where the teacher instructed them to group themselves into pairs of similar skills so they could practice together. As the students quickly formed their desired pairs for various activities, Alucard was left out, with no one willing to join him. The rejection weighed heavily on him, and he couldn't help but notice the occasional death glares from Giselle during their shared class sessions. Alucard wondered if his actions had inadvertently angered her, causing the other students to avoid him. Doubt crept into his mind as he questioned the purpose of re-enrolling in the school. Feeling the need to address the situation, Alucard contemplated approaching Giselle to apologize for whatever transgressions had occurred between them. However, as he attempted to approach her, the other students swiftly intervened, warning him not to provoke Giselle further. Their protectiveness towards her suggested a more profound tension and animosity was brewing beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Hailstorm, ever observant, decided to use a high-level magical appraisal item to delve deeper into Alucard's stats. To their surprise, the appraisal revealed that Alucard possessed hidden skills and abilities that had remained concealed until now. The revelation left them wondering if Alucard was truly doing fine at school, as specific instructors and teachers might be capable of discovering his secret. Concern and curiosity mingled as they pondered the extent of Alucard's untapped potential. Amidst the uncertainty, a ray of surprise shone through as Alicia arrived at the school. Alucard's eyes widened in shock and disbelief upon seeing her. The unexpected presence of someone he knew amidst the tension and isolation provided a glimmer of hope, renewing his spirit and reminding him that he wasn't completely alone in this challenging environment. As Lady Alicia made her entrance, the atmosphere in the training area shifted. People immediately recognized her as the descendant of the Brave One, a legendary figure known for their heroism and incredible feats. Alicia's beauty captivated the onlookers, and whispers of admiration and awe spread through the crowd. Spotting Alucard among the crowd, Alicia couldn't contain her delight and approached him with a warm greeting. Alucard, on the other hand, was taken aback by her unexpected presence. He never anticipated that someone as esteemed as Lady Alicia would personally seek him out. Alicia expressed happiness at not hearing from the S-rank adventurers for a while, as their silence had caused her some concern. However, the previous day she received news that someone matching her description had successfully passed the re-enrollment exam. The coincidence intrigued her, leading her to seek out Alucard. As their conversation unfolded, more and more people in the vicinity began to notice their interaction, their curiosity piqued by the presence of both Lady Alicia and the supposedly unremarkable Alucard. Sensing their growing attention, Alicia decided to whisk Alucard away from the prying eyes. With a mischievous smile, she gently took his hand, and to the astonishment of everyone present, the pair vanished from the midst of the crowd. Gasps of surprise filled the air, and various speculations arose among the bystanders. Some attributed Alucard's apparent stroke of luck to the encounter with Lady Alicia, while others were simply left in awe of the mysterious turn of events. When Alicia turned 16, she attained the highest rank of Swordmaster class, the most heroic of all the classes. Alicia, the Brave One's descendant, had attended the adventurer school from generation to generation, looking for an excellent mate to bequeath them strong offspring. Some people thought that if they made a name for themselves in the city, they could have a chance with Alicia, so some promised to try their best. Alucard later thanked Alicia for saving him, but clarified that he did not mean what she did for him at that time, but that she had saved his life once before. Ever since then, he had wanted to be an adventurer like her. Instead, Alicia replied that she should be the one thanking him for the day she wanted to help Alucard, but Rayon told her not to bother herself and that she should handle him. Alicia then told Alucard that she had been looking for him to apologize for all the trouble she had caused and thanked him for saving her life. She also asked if there was anything he wanted her to do for him. But Alucard quickly explained to Alicia that he was not the only one who saved her. As he was about to talk about what the S-rank adventurers did to him, he remembered that he was warned not to tell anyone about their unique training because it would be a pain. Alucard knew that. Alicia was angry with him, and Alicia told him to bring her the most delicious snack if he wanted her to forgive him. Afterward, they decided to go and have fun, as Alicia had to disguise herself so people would not notice her. They headed out, and Alicia warned Alucard to keep their little secret for that day. During one of his training sessions with Rayon, Alucard's sword unexpectedly snapped in two. Noticing the mishap, Rayon inquired about the cause of Alucard's enthusiasm for training. She reassured him that there was no need to worry about swords as they had an abundance of replacements available. However, Alucard insisted that he should buy his swords at this stage, taking responsibility for his equipment. Rayon, intrigued by Alucard's determination, suggested a change in their training approach. She proposed that he receive instruction from Hailstorm and Taromia to expand his skill set beyond the previous focus. Alucard was taken aback by this proposition, realizing he might have the opportunity to learn magic from Hailstorm. Combining magic with his swordplay excited him, as it would add a new dimension to his abilities. Being the first to commence the training, Hailstorm shared her knowledge of wind magic with Alucard. She explained the fundamental concepts of magic and how to channel and utilize it effectively. Alucard embarked on his magical training journey under Hailstorm's guidance, eager to master this new skill. 2 days later, Alucard found himself casting his first wind shot magic under Hailstorm's watchful eye. The manifestation of the spell impressed Hailstorm, who acknowledged his progress. However, after the training session, they decided to check Alucard's stats, and what they discovered left them astounded. Alucard's stats were growing at an astonishing rate, reflecting his proficiency not only in melee skills but also in magic. The exponential growth of his abilities indicated that he possessed a natural aptitude for both disciplines. The realization that Alucard's potential extended beyond swordsmanship brought the group a renewed sense of excitement and curiosity. They marveled at his versatility and the prospect of him becoming a well-rounded adventurer. Eager to continue his progress, Alucard purchased a new sword using his entire savings. He was later seen at the adventurer's bulletin board looking for a way to make money. Meanwhile, he checked through the requests and discovered that all the requests were from outside the city, and that an adventurer party was also needed at that time. The group from the orphanage was seen as they met Alucard, who asked if Giselle got his gift. They replied that she got it. He told them about the quest, to which they allowed him to join their party as repayment for making Giselle's move gentler. In the western forest, the group was seen luring Alucard into where Giselle was waiting. She attacked sneakily, and Alucard, surprised, blocked the attack, realizing it was all a lie to trick him. All the group attacked him together, and he felt overwhelmed by their attacks, feeling the need to break through them. However, he was able to use the wind shot magic, which attacked all the members except Giselle. She was shocked to discover that Alucard could even use magic skills now. Giselle and others were surprised that Alucard could use magic, and then Alucard used a wind shot to attack Giselle and the others, but it was stopped midway. Alucard was shocked that it was Giselle who halted his magic halfway. He wondered how it was possible that Giselle's unique charm could steal someone's magical initiative. Suddenly, Giselle used her magic to push Alucard against a tree and began to threaten him. Alucard then called the voluminous hair to end the burden in their hands, becoming his bullet and striking his enemies. However, Giselle told him that it was not helpful for him. Alucard escaped into the forest, and Giselle's friends decided to run after him. Still, Giselle told them not to panic, believing that Alucard's physical ability was not that much different from her friend's own. At the very least, she knew that it was definitely below hers. While Giselle's friends were worried, Giselle calmed them down and asked them to split into 2 groups to encircle Alucard, as she did not want him to escape the forest. The wind started blowing as they were about to search for Alucard, and they all felt it. Suddenly, a demon appeared, and they realized that it was the cause of the weird forest activity that had happened earlier. 2 of Giselle's friends were already hurt, and she asked others to carry them and escape into the woods as she had decided to fight the monster alone. But before she could attack the beast, she was already badly hurt. She felt that she was sacrificing herself and thought she should be able to buy some time, even with her wounded body. Giselle then remembered Alucard, whom she thought might have run away due to the situation in the forest. However, she thought it would be disgraceful if she got hurt by a monster. She promised herself to at least let people know she gave the monster hell, as she would leave a big scar on the monster's face. She then went to fight the beast, but before she could reach it again, the demon attacked her. Suddenly, Alucard came to her rescue, using his magic against the beast. He asked Giselle if she was hurt, but she was shocked to see Alucard, as she never expected him to come. Alucard stood in front of Giselle and asked about her welfare, noticing that one of her legs was severely injured. He urged her to get away and told her not to let herself be seen by any monsters. However, Giselle was dumbfounded and wondered why Alucard would help her since she had just tried to crush him a few moments ago. Alucard replied that they could not worry about that now and focus his attention on the monster. He had blinded it with a wind shot and caused it to run into a rock wall, but it didn't look like it damaged the monster. However, the monster was known as the Rock Lizard Warrior. In this battle, people more potent than Alucard and Giselle would typically divide their allies into vanguard, ranged attackers, healers, and support roles. Alucard knew that fighting the monster was a suicidal attempt. Still, he did not understand how they could escape from a beast that ignored entire forests and plowed straight through them. He wondered if he should carry Giselle in an attempt to escape. However, Alucard decided to face the monster, prompting Giselle to yell at him and ask him to run away. She was pretty sure he could not win the battle and would only increase the body count. Alucard was seen trembling, knowing it wasn't like when his masters protected him while fighting the Hydra. He was scared, however, he knew he had to be like a hero. At least he would help someone in a pinch, because if he abandoned Giselle right now, the ones who took him in and the person he admired so much would not be able to see his face again. Alucard charged at the monster, trying to figure out its pace. He discovered that the root of the neck, where the giant boulder scales looked thinnest, was a target point. He aimed at that point and then used a cross counter. However, Alucard discovered that his sword had turned blunt due to the attack, implying how hard the spot was. Meanwhile, Giselle found that the monster lacked stopping power at close range and Alucard could manage to dodge it somehow, but fighting it head-on would be severe. However, Alucard was seen using magic again to attack, and Rion and the rest of the group stood there in awe, their jaws dropping at the sight of Alucard's extraordinary skill. They couldn't believe that someone with such talent had been labeled a bust. Questions swirled in their minds as to why he hadn't achieved the recognition he deserved. Their thoughts were interrupted by an urgent announcement echoing through the vicinity. A risk level 4 monster had appeared in the western forest, requiring immediate action. Intermediate adventurers were called to form a strike team to confront the menace. Rion, Taromia, and Hailstorm exchanged worried glances. The western forest was meant for beginners, and the appearance of such a powerful creature there was concerning. Giselle and Alucard were still somewhere within its depths. The urgency of the situation became apparent. Time was of the essence, as they needed to find their missing comrades swiftly. Amidst the chaos, their attention returned to Alucard, now engaged in a fierce battle with the Rock Lizard Warrior. His every move was graceful and precise, drawing upon everything he had been taught. As the battle wore on, Alucard's skills seemed to soar to new heights with each passing moment. Despite his efforts, the monster's scales remained untouched, a frustrating reminder of his low-ranking adventurer status. Alucard couldn't help but be astonished by the creature's formidable defense, realizing it would take something extraordinary to overcome it. Fortunately for Alucard, his master's rigorous training had instilled in him some reserves of power. Yet, as he prepared to make another move, the monster lunged at him. Before the attack could connect, Giselle swiftly intervened, dispelling the incoming strike. Realizing that their combined strength might be the key to overcoming the monster's defenses, Giselle and Alucard launched a joint magical assault. Drawing upon their expertise, they unleashed a coordinated attack that finally wounded the creature thanks to Alucard's potent wind magic. However, amidst the fleeting triumph, Alucard's jubilation proved to be his momentary downfall. Caught off guard, he fell prey to the monster's counterattack. Ever the vigilant protector, Giselle quickly rushed to his aid, but not without sustaining injuries herself in the process. Witnessing Giselle's condition and motivated by her unwavering determination, Alucard summoned his last reserves of strength. With the resolve to give it his all, he tapped into a hidden reservoir of power and accessed an extraordinary skill, the Aegis effect. This unique ability gave him a glimpse into the monster's weakness, a chance he knew he couldn't squander. Seizing the opportunity, Alucard launched an all-out assault on the creature's vulnerable spot, pouring every ounce of energy into the attack as if the fate of the battle rested solely on that one strike. With determination and skill, he struck the weak point with a force that reverberated through the earth. As Giselle reflected on the past month's events, her heart felt heavy with remorse. She vividly remembered how she had relentlessly belittled Alucard, believing him to be a mere target for her taunts and mockery. Yet no matter how hard she picked on him, he refused to back down. It was as if he possessed an unyielding spirit that could not be broken. Despite being labeled as a zero, Alucard emerged victorious, proving he was not to be underestimated. Even though he proudly shared the victory with Giselle, she knew deep down that Alucard's strength and skill had nearly single-handedly taken down the formidable creature. Yet she remained perplexed about his specific technique to defeat the monster, a skill she couldn't fathom, and her curiosity gnawed at her. She then shouted at Alucard to stop holding back. After getting up, she told him to let them dismantle the monster into materials because she thought it would be wrong if they got surrounded by other monsters. Right then, they would use the monster's materials to repel any small fry and escape the forest. Alucard's masters arrived in the forest, trying to search the whole area to find him. As they were strategizing on how to explore the woods, they saw a monster lying lifeless and walked closer.